Mariska Hargitay zoomed into Kelly Clarkson's show yesterday in the SVU Star, but also Hamilton's superfan revealed to Kelly that Kelly's version of It's Quiet Uptown helps Mariska get emotional for shooting certain scenes for SVU.
If I could spare his life, if I could trade his life for mine, he'd be standing here right now, and you would smile, and that would be enough. Oh. Don't you like it uptown? It's quiet uptown. Ooh.
I had the Hamilton mixtape on, and I heard your rendition, and I have to say, it slayed me, and it just affected me so deeply that still to this day, it's like sometimes I prepare in acting, listening to that if it's a really emotional scene. So I feel such an intimate connection with you on an artistic level, and I just wanted to share that.
God, that made me feel really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to be telling everyone that.
It's so powerful, the depth that you went to. It just slayed me. And
oh my
thank you.
gosh, best compliment of the year. What just happened?
Tony says Kelly can make a big boy cry. It's so funny too. Like, I think Kelly and Adele are in the same place, Kristen. Like, they do these emotional songs, and they're such goofballs outside of it. Like, Kelly's almost taking it back. Like, you got emotional over that?
No, I feel like Kelly almost forgot she did it. She was like, wait, I was on that?
Right.
I sang that? Because if you guys remember, that mixtape came out in 2016, and the soundtrack, the actual soundtrack for the Broadway show was so huge. A lot of folks haven't even heard the mixtape in its entirety. It's brilliant. There are so many heartfelt moments. Alicia Keys does the cover. John Legend has a song, History Has Its Eyes on You, that makes me cry. It like gets me every single time. But I feel what Mariska was saying. And I feel like if you have to cry, you know, for SVU to get to that dark place, it probably is difficult. So I'm like, okay, put it on, blast it. It makes sense. And Kelly, to me, she's a song interpreter. She's brilliant at not just singing her own songs, but interpreting songs. And if you watched her on The Voice, all the covers that she was doing, even on her show now, she opens up with the song most days, and it's her covering something sometimes. And she's brilliant at doing that.
It's interesting. We were talking earlier about, you know, getting somebody in daytime who was a little bit more hard hitting, because Kelly is just, she was, you know, half embarrassed, half blown away, half everything else in that moment, where if that was somebody else sitting in Kelly Clarkson's seat, you know, those questions wouldn't have ended until Mariska was lying on the floor. You know what I mean?
You're so right.
Go in hard with that. Like, you get that moment where somebody's just starting a little bit to well up. You don't throw your hands up and say, "Oh my God, thank you." Go in, right?
Exactly.
But no, exactly. I agree. I agree. We all have, I shouldn't say we all, I can speak for myself here. I have such an emotional attachment to Kelly Clarkson, just because I can look at Kelly and think back to when she won American Idol, where it was the first time we had never seen anything like this, and they made that poor young lady go and stand on that stage, bawling her eyes out to sing a song. And I will never forget that moment. I was shaking. I will never forget that, because that was, you built such an emotional attachment to Kelly Clarkson over that first run of Idol that even now, if I interview her, even now I see clips from her show, I immediately go back there, and she just has that thing, you know, without even singing. She just has that thing of where I have this incredible emotional connection to Kelly Clarkson. It's wild. I love her.
A moment like this, right? It was
yes, thank you. Some people that was the wait a lifetime.
But she was like shaking. Confetti was getting in her eyes.
She couldn't
you
get
know,
the words
do you
out.
remember? It was. But that was brilliant TV. And speaking of longevity, I am so proud to see her parlay that into being, you know, a Grammy-winning artist. And she had a little lull in her career. She talks about it, having to redefine her. I think Reba McEntire helped her redefine herself and find her voice all over again. And now she's back on top. And you're right, her show probably is going to skyrocket in ratings next year and the year after, with and leaving the air and no longer being on. But she deserves all these things. Give her all the nice things, please.
Yep.
Yeah, Solis says Kelly is an amazing vocalist. Francis says Kelly is so modest. I'm sure Mariska does it very subtly, like before she shoots. But it's just funny to me to think like if she's struggling with the scene, she's like, I can't get to that place, guys. Put it on. Put it too hard uptown, and the crew just has to sit there. And Mariska's like, I'm sure that's not what Mariska does, but as an SNL sketch, that would be very funny to see.
My big question also.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I think, Ross, whenever you said that Kelly could have had a lot of follow-up questions, I wanted to know when Mariska said her and her husband saw it 22 times. Do you know how hard it was to get Hamilton tickets in New York City? Who was their hookup? That's what I want to know. Who was giving them tickets? Because it was impossible. There were
I tried to get
A-listers
Rosie
who could get
O'Donnell's
tickets.
hookup. It didn't work. I DM'd Rosie O'Donnell. She did not give up her source.